The Riverside Country Club's banquet room was decorated in shades of blue and white. My brother Jason's baby shower was meant to be an elegant affair celebrating his first child. Balloon arches framed the gift table and a 3-tier cake sat as the centerpiece, topped with a fondant baby rattle. I arrived exactly on time, carrying a carefully wrapped gift, a sterling silver rattle from Tiffany's that cost more than most people's car payments. Not that anyone would know. I'd learned long ago that my family measured worth by visibility, not substance. Priya, you made it. My mother rushed over, hugging me with the kind of enthusiasm that felt more obligatory than genuine. We weren't sure you'd come. I know how hard these events must be for you. Why would they be hard? I asked, though I knew exactly what she meant. Well, she glanced at my sister-in-law Ashley, who was holding court near the cake, her hand resting protectively on her 8-month pregnant belly. You know, baby showers. When you don't have children yourself. At your age. I was 41. Apparently that made me ancient in my family's eyes. I'm fine, Mom, I said calmly. I'm happy for Jason and Ashley. My younger sister Mira appeared, her 3-year-old son clinging to her leg. Priya, I saved you a seat at our table. She lowered her voice. Away from the mommy talk brigade. Thought you'd appreciate that. Thanks, Mira. As we walked to the table, I passed groups of Ashley's friends, young mothers with designer diaper bags and conversations that revolved entirely around feeding schedules and preschool applications. They glanced at me with a mixture of pity and curiosity. The older sister. The childless one. The career woman who'd waited too long. Priya. Ashley called out, waving me over. Come here. I want you to meet my friends from my mommy group. I approached, keeping my expression neutral. This is my sister-in-law Priya, Ashley said, her voice dripping with sympathy. She's a doctor. Very successful. Very dedicated to her career. The way she said dedicated to her career made it sound like a terminal illness. Oh, a doctor, one of the women said brightly. That must be so fulfilling. It is, I confirmed. Do you ever regret it? Another woman asked. Choosing career over family? I mean, you must be, what, 40? 45. 41, I said evenly. Still, she continued, undeterred. The biological clock stops for no one. My doctor said after 35 fertility drops dramatically. After 40, it's basically impossible without serious medical intervention. Thank you for that unsolicited medical advice, I said with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. I'll keep it in mind. Ashley touched my arm, her expression unbearably pitying. We just worry about you, Priya. You're always working. We never see you with anyone. Don't you want a family of your own? I have a family, I said, gesturing around the room. I'm here, aren't I? You know what I mean, she pressed. A husband. Children. A real family. Before I could respond, the event coordinator called everyone to their seats. The shower was beginning and Ashley needed to open her mountain of gifts. I sat between Mira and my Aunt Kavita, watching as Ashley exclaimed over onesies and receiving blankets and an expensive stroller system. My gift, the silver rattle, received a polite thank you but was quickly set aside in favor of more practical presents. That's a beautiful gift, Aunt Kavita murmured. Tiffany's. Yes. Wasted on Ashley, she said bluntly. She won't appreciate it. About halfway through the gift opening, Ashley's best friend Michelle stood up with a microphone. Hey everyone. Time for some games. First up, guess the baby food. There were groans and laughs as jars of pureed food were passed around. I participated politely, though the whole thing felt absurd. Next game, Michelle announced. Advice for the new mom. Everyone write down your best parenting tip. Cards were distributed. I stared at mine, pen hovering over the blank space. What could I possibly write that wouldn't sound hollow? Having trouble? Ashley's mother, Patricia, leaned over. It's okay if you skip this one, dear. You wouldn't really have any advice to give. I set down my pen without writing anything. The games continued, guessing Ashley's belly size with ribbon, decorating onesies, a diaper-changing race. With each activity, the divide between the mothers and me grew more obvious. They traded knowing looks and inside jokes about sleepless nights and explosive diapers. I sat quietly checking my watch. Finally, it was time for cake. As slices were being served, Ashley stood up, beaming. "I just want to thank everyone for being here," she said, her voice emotional. "Becoming a mother is my greatest dream. I know some people prioritize other things, career, travel, independence. But for me, there's nothing more important than family. Nothing more fulfilling than motherhood." Her eyes found mine across the room, and though she smiled, the message was clear. I had chosen wrong. I had prioritized the wrong things. I was missing out on life's greatest joy. "Some of us are lucky enough to figure out what matters while we still have time," she continued. "Others." She paused meaningfully. "Well, let's just say I'm grateful I didn't wait too long." My mother actually winced. Mira grabbed my hand under the table. "To Ashley and Jason," Michelle raised her glass. "And to their beautiful baby boy coming soon." Everyone cheered. I raised my glass of sparkling water and drank. As people returned to mingling and eating cake, I found myself cornered near the gift table by a group of Ashley's friends. "So Priya," one of them said, I thought her name was Bethany. "Do you regret not having children?" "I don't think that's an appropriate question," I replied. "I'm just curious," she pressed. "I mean, you're successful, you're smart, you obviously make good money. But you're also alone. Do you ever lie awake at night wondering what you missed?" "Face it, you're too old now," another woman, Sarah maybe, said with brutal honesty. "Even if you wanted kids at this point, it's probably not happening. No kids for you." The group nodded sadly as if I'd received a terminal diagnosis. My mother appeared, her expression pained. "Priya has made her choices. We can't judge her for that." "Such a shame though," Aunt Kavita added, shaking her head. "She would have been a good mother. If she hadn't been so focused on her career." I just smiled and looked at my watch. 3:47 p.m. "Any minute now." "Are you leaving?" Ashley demanded, suddenly beside me. "The shower isn't over. We haven't even done the toast yet." "I'm not leaving," I said calmly. "Just checking the time." "Waiting for an important call from the hospital?" she asked, her tone making it clear she thought my work was just an excuse to avoid real life. "Something like that." The banquet room doors opened and conversations stuttered to a halt as three women entered. The first was Jennifer Moore, my surrogate. She was carrying 2 infant car seats, one in each hand. Behind her, my full-time nanny Maria pushed a high-end double stroller. And beside Maria was my lawyer, Catherine Brooks, carrying a sleek leather folder. The room went completely silent. Jennifer's eyes found mine and she smiled warmly. "Miss Patel, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the twins' passports arrived this morning. Catherine brought them over since I know you need them for next week's trip to London." She walked directly to me, setting the car seats gently on the table beside the cake. In each seat was a tiny baby girl, maybe 3 months old, both sleeping peacefully. They were dressed identically in soft pink sleepers, their dark hair visible under matching pink hats. They were beautiful, absolutely perfect. My mother made a sound like all the air had left her body. "These are..." Ashley's voice failed. She stared at the babies, then at me, then back at the babies. "These are babies." "Very observant," I said, leaning down to check on my daughters. Arya stirred slightly but didn't wake. Zara was completely out, her tiny fist curled near her mouth. "Your babies," my mother whispered. "Priya, whose babies are these?" "Mine," I said simply. "This is Arya and Zara. My daughters. They'll be 3 months old tomorrow." Catherine opened her folder and pulled out 2 small burgundy passports. "Your daughter's British passports arrived, as Jennifer mentioned. The American ones should be here by next week. I've also finalized the trust fund paperwork you requested. Each girl now has $5 million secured for education and future needs." $5 million, Mira said faintly. "Each." "Ms. Patel is very thorough about planning for her children's futures," Catherine said with professional warmth. "I've been her attorney for 8 years, and I've never seen someone prepare so comprehensively for parenthood." Jennifer smiled at the stunned crowd. Being Priya's surrogate was an honor. She was involved in every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound, every decision. She had the nursery ready months before the girls were born. She attended birthing classes, even though she wasn't the one giving birth. She wanted to be prepared for everything. "Surrogate," Patricia said, the word sounding like an accusation. "You used to surrogate?" "I did," I confirmed. "For medical reasons that are none of your business." "But you've been..." Ashley gestured helplessly. You've been coming to family dinners. To events. You never said anything. You never told us you were having babies. You never asked, I said calmly. You were all very busy telling me how sad my childless life was. I didn't see any reason to correct you. 3 months, my mother breathed. You've been a mother for 3 months and you didn't tell me? I've been a mother for longer than that, Mom. I was involved throughout the entire pregnancy. I was in the delivery room when they were born. I held them first. I've been the one feeding them, caring for them, loving them every single day since they took their first breath. Maria, who had been quietly unpacking supplies from the stroller, spoke up in her gentle Spanish accent. Miss Patel is an excellent mother. The twins are healthy, happy, and very loved. She works from home 3 days a week to spend time with them. She sings to them, reads to them, even though they're too young to understand. She is completely devoted. But your career, Bethany said weakly. You're always at the hospital. I'm a neonatal surgeon, I said. I work with premature babies. I've spent the last 15 years saving the lives of other people's children. Did you really think I didn't want children of my own? You never said. I never said a lot of things, I interrupted. I never said I had a medical condition that made pregnancy dangerous for me. I never said I'd been researching surrogacy options for 5 years. I never said I'd found Jennifer through a reputable agency and built a relationship with her over 18 months before we even began the process. I never said any of that because none of you asked. You just assumed. Ashley sank into a chair, her hand on her belly, her face pale. You let me. I spent this whole shower talking about how motherhood is the most important thing. How some people prioritize wrong. And you have been a mother for 3 months, I finished. Yes. Why didn't you tell us? My mother asked, tears streaming down her face. Why would you keep this from your family? Because I wanted to see, I said honestly. I wanted to see if anyone would be curious about my life. If anyone would ask questions instead of making assumptions. If anyone would consider that maybe, just maybe, I knew what I was doing with my own life. Arya began to fuss and I instinctively reached into the car seat, unbuckling her and lifting her against my shoulder. She settled immediately, her tiny body relaxing against mine. I'd done this hundreds of times. This was muscle memory now. You look natural with her, Mira said softly. I should. She's my daughter. Can I hold her? My mother asked hesitantly. I studied her face, the shock, the hurt, the desperate longing. You can hold her. But first I need you to understand something. You don't get to pity me anymore. You don't get to treat me like I'm missing out on life. You don't get to imply that my choices are sad or wrong. Because I'm living exactly the life I chose and it's a beautiful one. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, Priya. We were horrible to you. You were, I agreed. But we can move past it. If you're willing to actually know me instead of the version of me you made up. I handed Arya to my mother, watching as she cradled her granddaughter for the first time. The tears came harder now, but they were different. Not pity but wonder. She's perfect, Mom breathed. They're both perfect. They are, I agreed. Jason appeared looking shell-shocked. Priya, I don't understand. How did we not know? How did you hide this? I didn't hide it, I corrected. I just didn't announce it. There's a difference. I was at the hospital a lot during the pregnancy, but I'm always at the hospital. I work there. Jennifer came to my house for check-ins, not to your houses. The nursery is in my home, which none of you have visited in over a year. You didn't know because you weren't paying attention. That's not fair, Ashley protested weakly. Isn't it? When was the last time any of you asked about my life? Really asked, not just made assumptions? When was the last time someone wondered why I turned down dinner invitations or left events early? When was the last time anyone considered that maybe I had something important in my life beyond my job? The silence was damning. Catherine checked her phone. Miss Patel, I hate to rush you, but you have that video call with the London hospital in an hour. About the surgical exchange program. London hospital? Jason asked. I've been invited to spend 3 months at Great Ormond Street Hospital, I explained, teaching their surgical team my techniques. That's why I needed the girls' passports. They're coming with me. Maria has already secured her visa. We leave next Tuesday. You're taking them to London, my mother said. For 3 months. I'm not leaving them behind, I said simply. They're 3 months old. They need their mother. So where I go, they go. But your career, Patricia said. This will impact your career. Taking babies to London for 3 months. On the contrary, Catherine interjected. The hospital is providing Ms. Patel with a fully furnished flat, childcare stipend, and paying her $75,000 for the teaching position. Plus, the professional connections she'll make are invaluable. This opportunity exists because she's one of the best neonatal surgeons in the country. One of the best? Jennifer laughed. Catherine, don't undersell her. Priya's surgical success rate with premature twins is the highest in North America. She's published 17 peer-reviewed papers. 3 hospitals have tried to recruit her this year alone. She's not one of anything, she's the best. I didn't know that, Mira said quietly. I knew you were good at your job, but I didn't know that I'm exceptional at it. I supplied. Well, because everyone was too busy pitying me for not having kids to ask about what I'd actually accomplished. Maria had been preparing bottles and now she handed one to me. Zara will wake soon. She likes to eat at 4 o'clock. I settled into a chair and lifted Zara from her car seat. She woke on cue, her dark eyes blinking open, and I offered her the bottle. She latched immediately, her tiny hands wrapping around my finger. The room watched in silence as I fed my daughter. This thing I'd done every day for 3 months, this routine that was as natural to me as breathing. You really are a mother, Ashley said, and for the first time her voice held something other than superiority. It held respect. Maybe even envy. I really am, I confirmed. And a damn good one. Better than good, Maria said firmly. The best. She knows every sound they make, every expression. She can tell which cry means hungry versus tired versus needing a diaper change. She hasn't missed a single feeding, a single bath time, a single moment. Even when she's at the hospital saving other babies, she video calls during her breaks just to see their faces. Why surrogacy? Aunt Kavita asked. If you don't mind me asking. I have a heart condition, I explained. Nothing that affects my daily life, but pregnancy would have put dangerous strain on my heart. My cardiologist advised against it. So I explored other options and found Jennifer. It was the right choice for me. But people must judge you, Bethany said. Using a surrogate. Not carrying your own children. Let them judge, I said simply. My daughters are here healthy and loved. That's all that matters. Zara finished her bottle and I lifted her to burp her. She let out a satisfying burp that made several people laugh. Like mother, like daughter, Mira joked. You always had the best burps. Thanks, I think, I said, smiling despite myself. Ashley stood up and walked over, standing awkwardly beside my chair. Can I hold one? I studied her face. The superiority was gone, replaced by genuine curiosity and something that looked like remorse. You can hold Zara, I said, standing and carefully transferring my daughter to her arms. Support her head. She's not great at neck control yet. Ashley cradled Zara with surprising gentleness. She's so tiny. 5 pounds at birth, I said. They're both still catching up. Both. She looked at Arya, still sleeping peacefully in my mother's arms. They're different sizes? Arya was 5 pounds 2 ounces. Zara was 4 pounds 15 ounces. 3-week NICU stay for both of them. I was there every single day all day. Held them through every procedure, every test, every scary moment. That must have been terrifying, Ashley said quietly. It was, I admitted. But it was also the most profound experience of my life. Watching them fight. Watching them grow stronger every day. Knowing they were fighters just like their mother. I'm sorry, Ashley said, and she actually meant it. I'm sorry for everything I said. For everything I implied. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't, I agreed. But I understand why you did it. Society tells us there's only one path to motherhood, one timeline that's acceptable. You followed that path and you assumed anyone who didn't was either unable or unwilling. You were wrong, but you weren't malicious. I was though, she insisted. I was malicious. I wanted to feel superior to you. Wanted to believe that your success didn't matter because you didn't have what I had. But you had it all along. You had more than I knew. Zara began to fuss and Ashley handed her back immediately. I settled my daughter against my shoulder and she calmed instantly, recognizing my scent, my heartbeat. They know you, Jennifer observed. That's the beautiful thing about surrogacy when it's done right. These babies have known Priya's voice since they were in the womb. He talked to them every day, sang to them. They know their mother. Tell us about them, my mother said softly, still holding Arya. Tell us everything. Their birth, their personalities, everything we've missed. I looked around the room, at my family, at Ashley's friends, at all these people who judged me without knowing me. They were listening now. Really listening. Arya was born first, I began. At 6:47 a.m. on January 15th. He came out screaming, loud, angry, demanding. Zara followed 3 minutes later, much quieter. She looked around like she was taking it all in, trying to understand her new world. That tracks, Mira laughed. You were the loud, demanding one. I was the quiet observer. Arya is still loud, I confirmed. She wants what she wants immediately. Zara is more patient, more contemplative. Arya fights sleep like it's her sworn enemy. Zara goes down easily but wakes up alert and ready to play. Do they look like you? Someone asked. They look like themselves, I said. But yes, there are similarities. My nose. My hair. The donor we chose had similar features to mine, similar background. It was important to me that they'd feel connected to their heritage. Donor? Patricia asked. Sperm donor, I clarified. I'm not in a relationship. I wanted children, so I made it happen on my own terms. That's... Patricia struggled for words. That's very modern. That's very practical, I corrected. I'm 41 years old. I didn't want to wait for some perfect partner who might never materialize. I wanted to be a mother, so I became one. What do you tell them? Bethany asked. About their father? When they're old enough, I'll tell them the truth. That they were desperately wanted. That I chose every aspect of their existence carefully and lovingly. That they have a mother who would move mountains for them. And if they want to know more about their biological father, I have all that information saved for them. But for now they're 3 months old. All they need to know is that they're loved. Catherine checked her watch. Priya, I really do need to get going. I have another client at 5. But the passports are in the folder along with the updated trust paperwork. Call me if you need anything before London. Thank you, Catherine. After she left, Maria began packing up. We should go soon too, Miss Patel. The girls need their afternoon nap and you have that call. You're right. I looked at my mother. Can I have Arya back? She handed over my daughter reluctantly. Can we visit? Before you leave for London? You can come to my house tomorrow, I said. 2 o'clock. I'll give you the grand tour of what you've missed. Tomorrow, she agreed, her voice thick with emotion. We'll be there. As Jennifer, Maria, and I prepared to leave, collecting bottles, blankets, burp cloths, all the paraphernalia that comes with twins, my family watched silently. Priya, Jason said finally. I'm happy for you. Really happy. And I'm sorry we didn't give you the chance to share this with us. You can share it now, I said. If you want to know my daughters, I'll let you. But you have to actually care. You have to show up. You have to stop assuming and start asking. We will, Mira promised. I will. I want my son to know his cousins. Then bring him tomorrow, I said. The girls should know their family. As we walked toward the doors, me carrying Arya's car seat, Jennifer carrying Zara's, Maria pushing the stroller loaded with supplies, Ashley called out. Priya, wait. I turned. She walked over, her pregnant belly prominent between us. You said you're a neonatal surgeon. You work with premature babies. I do. My doctor is worried, she admitted quietly. The baby is measuring small. They're talking about possible early delivery. I'm scared. I studied her face. The fear there was real. I'll give you my direct number. If there are complications, if they deliver early, you call me. I'll make sure your baby gets the best care possible. Even after how I treated you. Especially after how you treated me, I said. Because I'm a better person than you thought I was. And because that baby deserves the best chance regardless of his mother's mistakes. Tears streamed down her face. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, I said. Thank me when your son is healthy and home with you. Outside, the afternoon sun was warm and bright. Maria loaded the car seats into my SUV. A practical, safe vehicle that had room for 2 car seats and all the equipment twins required. That was intense, Jennifer said. Are you okay? I'm perfect, I said honestly. I just proved that every assumption they made about me was wrong. That's pretty satisfying. Your daughters are lucky, she said. To have a mother who's so strong. I'm lucky, I corrected. To have daughters who make me want to be strong. As I drove home, both girls sleeping peacefully in the back seat, I thought about the shocked faces at the baby shower. The assumptions that had been shattered. The pity that had been exposed as condescension. They'd thought I was missing out on life. But I'd been living a fuller life than any of them knew. Tomorrow I'd show my family the nursery I'd designed. The library of books I'd already collected for my daughters. The photo albums documenting every day of their young lives. The evidence of my love, my preparation, my absolute dedication to motherhood. But today I'd done something more important. I'd proved that there's more than one way to become a mother. More than one timeline. More than one definition of family. And I'd proved that the people who judge you for your choices usually know the least about your life. As Arya stirred and made a small sound, I reached back and touched her tiny foot. We're almost home, baby girl, I murmured. Almost home. And I realized that was the best part of all. After years of family gatherings where I felt like an outsider, I finally understood what home really meant. It wasn't a building. It wasn't even a relationship. It was 2 tiny girls, 3 months old, who knew my voice and my heartbeat and loved me unconditionally. That was home. And I'd chosen it on my own terms.